This story is about little girl and stepmother. Don't forget to like and subscribe the Kindness Records for more kindness videos. Now, enjoy your story. 7-year-old Lily stood by the grand marble staircase, her small fingers clutching the railing as tears streamed down her porcelain cheeks. The mansion that should have been her sanctuary had become her prison. Crystal chandeliers hung from vaulted ceilings. Persian rugs covered polished floors, and original paintings adorned silk-papered walls. Yet all this beauty could unmask the coldness that had seeped into her home since her father remarried. "Did you actually think you could wear that dress to the charity gala?" Victoria's voice echoed through the hallway, sharp as broken glass. Her stepmother stood at the top of the stairs, draped in an emerald evening gown that sparkled under the lights, her diamond jewelry catching every ray like frozen lightning. She was stunning on the outside, but Lily had learned that beauty could sometimes be the most deceptive mask. Lily looked down at her simple blue dress, the one her late mother had sewn by hand, each stitch a love letter from heaven. "Daddy said I could come," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Your father says many things to keep peace." Victoria descended the stairs slowly, deliberately, her heels clicking against the marble like a countdown. "But I run this household now. We'll stay in your room tonight. A child like you would only embarrass us in front of the city's elite." As Victoria swept past, leaving a trail of expensive perfume and crushing disappointment, Lily felt something inside her crack. But she didn't know yet that sometimes we must break open before we can bloom. That night, unable to sleep, Lily wandered into the estate's abandoned greenhouse, a place Victoria had deemed an eyesore and forbidden anyone to enter. Moonlight filtered through the dusty glass panes, illuminating forgotten flower pots and tangled vines. "Daddy said I could come," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Your father says many things to keep peace." Victoria descended the stairs slowly, deliberately, her heels clicking against the marble like a countdown. "But I run this household now. You'll stay in your room tonight. A child like you would only embarrass us in front of the city's elite." As Victoria swept past, leaving a trail of expensive perfume and crushing disappointment, Lily felt something inside her crack. But she didn't know yet that sometimes we must break open before we can bloom. That night, unable to sleep, Lily wandered into the estate's abandoned greenhouse, a place Victoria had deemed an eyesore and forbidden anyone to enter. Moonlight filtered through the dusty glass panes, illuminating forgotten flower pots and tangled vines. In the center stood her mother's prized possession, a withered rose garden. "Mama's roses," Lily whispered, kneeling beside the neglected plants. "My darling. They may look delicate, but they survive the harshest winters and bloom even more beautifully when spring arrives." A soft voice startled her. "They're not dead, you know." Lily turned to find Mrs. Chen, the elderly gardener who'd been with the family for decades. Victoria had reduced her hours, calling her unnecessary staff, but she still visited secretly to tend what she could. "Really?" Lily's eyes widened with hope. "Really? They just need love, patience, and someone who believes in them." Mrs. Chen smiled, her weathered face radiating warmth. "Just like you, little one." Over the following weeks, Lily snuck into the greenhouse every night. "Just like you, little one." Over the following weeks, Lily snuck into the greenhouse every night. She watered them with tears sometimes, but she never gave up. Months passed. Victoria's cruelty escalated. She accidentally gave away Lily's mother's jewelry. She enrolled Lily in a boarding school far away. She convinced Lily's father, who traveled constantly for business, that his daughter was troubled and resentful. But something remarkable was happening. Each act of unkindness became fertilizer for Lily's inner strength. Each harsh word became a challenge she chose to rise above. She started excelling at school, not to please Victoria, but to honor her mother's memory. She volunteered at the local children's shelter, having learned firsthand what it meant to feel unwanted in your own home. One day, Lily overheard the school counselor talking to her teacher. "That child has something special. a light that refuses to dim, despite whatever darkness she faces at home. She's going to do extraordinary things. Lily realized something profound. Victoria could control her circumstances, but not her spirit. That revelation was her superpower. The annual Magnolia Ball arrived, the city's most prestigious charity event. Victoria had spent months planning, determined to cement her status as high society's new darling. She'd forbidden Lily from attending, naturally. But that evening, as Victoria descended the grand staircase in a gown worth more than most people's cars, she found Lily in the foyer, not crying, not cowering. Standing tall in a dress Mrs. Chen had helped her create from her mother's old fabrics, transformed into something breathtaking, simple yet elegant, modest yet radiant. "What do you think you're doing?" Victoria hissed, her facade cracking. "Going to the ball," Lily said calmly. "It's a charity event for children without families. I've been volunteering there. They invited me as a guest of honor because I helped raise $10,000 through my Rose Garden project." Victoria's face flushed. "Your what?" "The greenhouse you wanted, demolished. I restored it. Mrs. Chen taught me about business. We've been selling Mother's Heritage roses to boutique florists across the state. Every penny goes to the shelter." Before Victoria could respond, Lily's father entered, having returned early from his trip. Behind him stood several members of the event committee, having arrived to escort their young honoree. Lily, her father stared, seeing his daughter, truly seeing her, for the first time in over a year. What's going on? The truth spilled out that evening, not from Lily, who remained gracious and silent, but from the household staff, Mrs. Chen, and eventually from Victoria herself, whose web of lies unraveled under scrutiny. The following weeks were turbulent. Victoria moved out. Lily's father, devastated by guilt, begged for forgiveness. But Lily had learned something more powerful than resentment. "Daddy," she said, one evening as they sat in the restored greenhouse, surrounded by blooming roses, "I forgive you. And I even forgive Victoria." "How?" he asked, tears streaming down his face. "After everything. Because Mama taught me that holding on to anger is like holding on to thorns. It only hurts me. And because Victoria's cruelty taught me strength I didn't know I had. She tried to break me, but instead, she helped me bloom." Years later, Lily would establish a foundation for children in difficult family situations. She would become a voice for those who felt voiceless, a light for those in darkness. Victoria's attempted destruction had inadvertently created a warrior of kindness. On Lily's 18th birthday, she received an unexpected letter. It was from Victoria, now volunteering at a women's shelter, working through her own childhood trauma. "Lily, I don't expect forgiveness. But I need you to know, watching you rise above my worst was the mirror I needed to face my worst. You saved yourself. But somehow, your light saved me too. Thank you." Lily stood in her mother's greenhouse, now a thriving business and community garden, and smiled. She'd learned life's most profound truth. We cannot control how others treat us, but we can always control who we become. And sometimes, the people who try to dim our light are simply standing in darkness, desperate for someone to show them the way out. The little girl who once cried on marble stairs had become a woman who built stairways for others to climb.